Welcome to Custom Homebuilders Solutions, also known as CHS, a job costing, full accounting, and profit management software designed specifically for the professional home builder. Hello everybody, this will be the second in a series of videos about payors or customers, how you set them up, but also how you edit them. In the last video we talked about how to set them up in various places where they're used, like attaching to a job, etc. In this video we are going to talk about what if you decide you want to change the payor ID. And there's a reason we have a separate little video, because I want to point out some things about that. So let's do payors receivables, and I already clicked the payors list, so it's actually already up here in a tab. And I want to talk about the top of an old help document. I'm going to use that. We're talking about changing the payor ID in CHS. CHS is a relational database, meaning that any records in your accounting, jobs, activities, etc. tables that use a payor ID must relate to a code in the payors table. In accounting, we might have accounts receivable, or when we post deposits, etc. Therefore, when a payor ID is changed, all records in the database that have the original ID will be updated to the new payor ID. This is called a cascade update. First of all, so before you change the code, it might be useful first to look at where the original ID has been used. So besides providing info about how to change a payor ID, I'm going to go right now and start talking about how to look where a payor ID has been used. So back on the program, I think I'm going to do something about changing this payor ID. It's called code here, but this is the payor ID right here. But first I'm going to take a little bit of a look at where that payor ID has been used. Let's see if it's been used in job revenues. And yes, it has been, and you can see that payor ID going on right here and how it's all over the place. And when I open these again after we change the payor ID, it will be changed on this very exact same report. Or we could take a look at if we'd had any, we might not have any accounts receivable records. So I guess there's one little one there. Or we could look at the great big accounting database, which is grouped by GL account number. There's that one that relates to that accounts receivable. Here's some things that relate to deposits we posted for that payor, and you see that payor ID going on here. And change order deposits, and I guess we were charging some travel expenses or something to that payor. So let's just close that. That's how you can look at various places that it has been used, so that if you want to come back and check and make sure everything cascaded, updated, okay when we change the ID, then you can verify to yourself that it did get updated everywhere. So the way you change a payor ID is right here under change. There's the underlined is code, so it really means change code. So let's click that. First of all, over here on the right, you're going to see all codes that have been used for vendors, employees, payors, etc. Because you can't reuse one of those because they're actually all in one same place, but some are marked as payors and some as employees and some as IDs. But let's take a look. Please close all tab panes because the payors list before you change IDs, because you might have tab panes open in CHS. You know that maybe you search for that payor ID or something. It's just a good idea when you're making a change that's going to cascade everywhere that you do have all your other tabs closed. And it's also a good idea to maybe not have other users working on the program a whole lot while you're changing payor IDs, because they could be on something where they've used a certain ID and then all the records that they're working on are changing, but it's not refreshed. All records that relate to the old payor ID are programmed to change to the new payor ID. However, please check associated records like accounting and deposits. And like I told you, one way you can do that is you could have printed out some of those used things that we did with the used button, and then go back and check and make sure everything looks good to you after you make the change. Payor IDs, again, can be up to 10 alpha or numerical characters with no spaces. So I'm just going to make a minor change, like let's just call him Bob instead of Rob in our code for whatever reason. So let's just change the payer ID to where it says Bob instead of Rob. So here we go. We click the button to change the payer ID, and it goes ahead and opens up the payer setup window. And in the previous video, I am in the new one, an updated one from what we were showing you, which is similar, totally similar, except that we now have places for additional contacts. So if there's other names that you want to put in here and phone numbers and emails that relate to this payer, maybe it's a bank or a lending company and you have some different employees there, and you can write notes, that this payer is associated with such and such job, or any other notes you'd like to write about the payer over here. So let me close that. So what you want to do is go back to used. Just kind of check out a few things. Let's look at those job revenues again. Now you'll see that the payer ID on all of them is to group Bob, not to group Rob. So, and you could check out the numbers on that versus one you printed before you did this if you wanted to be super sure. Make sure the accounts receivable record is still there, etc. So you can check any of these that you maybe printed out or just sent to a PDF and have, in your taskbar against the new one now. But you could prove to yourself that all the records related to that person got updated. Now I'd like to show you that in the audit table, going to do audit records that have to do with payer audits. And if you want to find, let's take a look over here. Look how it says payer deleted, and right here it says changed payer ID on various types of payers. So it shows changed payer ID from the group Rob to the group Bob. It shows that I did it, what date and time I did it. So I'd just like you to know that there is an audit table for that, and that you could search for certain things, like if you just wanted to see maybe what payers had been deleted, you can search in the description. I could put payer deleted or just deleted, because I can just type partial, so you don't have to know it exactly. But now you'll see a list of all the payers that have been deleted for whatever reason, probably because I've been doing lots of demos. See all those test things? Just me demoing deleting payers. So there's that. So you'll know that it is in the audit table. Sometimes you need to go look there because maybe you have some old reports that have the old payer ID on it, and you want to know what happened to that payer ID. You may need to kind of go look on the audit table to see if somebody changed or got rid of it somehow. So we've checked the used already. And another little tip I'd like to give you about changing the payer ID is, let me see if I have anybody. If there's some payer on here that is old, you won't be using it anymore, you don't want to see that in there anymore, that kind of thing, a tip I can give you is if you use the change code, let's just practice on this one and do ZZ in front of it, then at least when you do drop downs or things that are showing you the payers, let's pop that up again just in case I want any other changes or make notes about why I changed it. Now it's at the bottom of the list, and that would be the same as when you're selecting in a drop down list, post deposits and stuff. These will have fallen to the bottom. And that's a way to maybe just move them down until maybe you purge your accounting records, etc., and are able to delete them. But as long as they have been used and attached to any records, they can't be deleted. You could, of course, set them as inactive, which would give you some clues about which ones are active and which ones are inactive. And you do that with the pencil edit icon and just change it to inactive. So that's all I think I wanted to say about changing the payer ID. In the very next video, we are going to talk about deleting payors from the list and things that you might do in order to get to where you can delete one that has been used. So thank you for watching.